Hey everyone, welcome back. So remember at the end, at the end of the last video, I was a little annoyed because the project button was like in the middle, and I wanted it like here on the far left, and it's because for some reason the CSS styling that comes out of the box with the Create React app was getting in the way. I didn't even check what was it. I just wiped out the complete apps.css because we're not doing any CSS in this course anyway. So I just wiped it out. I just cleaned it out. So I suggest you do the same if you want the same look and feel as I have. Again, you're more than welcome to do whatever you want, right? If you want to make it a completely different color, completely different layout, go right ahead. All right. But I'm just gonna show what I built. All right, so I've just wiped this out, and then with that in place now, as you guys can see, now I have everything back to normal. All right, give me just a moment here, and there you go. Okay, now the other thing that I forgot to do in the last lecture is bring in Font Awesome. Font Awesome is what we're gonna do for certain, say, icons that we want to have. All right, so in order to bring Font Awesome, you can go to the project board, and I do have a CDN here, right here, this link right here. It's, again, you already have this if you follow the steps in the previous lecture. And here, this is a CDN. If you guys are also more than welcome to go find your own CDN, but you can use this one. At least at the time of this recording, you can use this one right here. All you have to do is copy this one, and then go to the public folder right here. Then go to the index.html. Remember, we talked about this file being where your app lives, right? Remember, everything, like your app.js and everything in app.js lives here. So be very careful when changing this file. And what you need to do is, like, right above the title. At least that's how I have it. Right above the title, just copy and paste that CDN. Oh, great. Oops, sorry guys. And me talking about don't be careful with it, and then I'm copying and pasting things that I shouldn't have pasted there. Sorry about that, guys, but again, it's a lesson learned, right? So you can save that, right? And for now, you can just ignore these warnings that we have here. Then I'm just gonna go to the project board. Not this one, obviously, to the component, and I am going to go to the create project task here, and then I'm literally going to just bring, actually I shouldn't have closed this. I'm just gonna bring this class right here, which is the icon for the project awesome for the font awesome icon that we want to use. Alright, so I'm just gonna copy and paste that here again. Alright, and I don't think, yeah, that's good. I just can get rid of this, don't worry about it. Alright, so with that in place, I think we should now have this looking good. As you can see, we have this little plus sign here. I just like it that way, that's all. You can go to Font Awesome yourselves and see what designs you guys want to add here, right? But so far our little application is looking good. So okay, so let's get coding. I think we already invested a lot of time talking about Font Awesome and whatnot. All right, so let me just gather some things here before we continue. Okay, so everything's good here. Give me just a moment, guys. All right, because I had notes of what I want to accomplish, and then I lost my notes. It happens, right? Okay, so the next thing that we want to bring in is going to be our add project task form. All right, and for this, again, you guessed it, we're going to create another component. Now this time I want to create another folder within the components folder. I'm just gonna call it project task, and within this folder, I'm going to have everything that's related to the project tasks, because then at some point we are going to extract a few things out of here. Like for instance, here, right, this card right here is a sample project task. We're gonna make this a component of its own. So things like that we have to, and that's why I have this comment here. Sample project task starts here, ends here, because we need to extract this and make it a separate component, right? But for now, let's start with the form, and then we're also gonna start with some routing. So again, in the project task folder that I just created, I am going to create a new component. That's going to be called add project task. And again, this is just going to be the form that we're going to use to add project tasks. This is going to be also a class-based component, so RCC. Then let's do our refactoring that I always do here. Nothing out of the ordinary. Okay. Cool. So, as I mentioned, you guys also have this project task form here. And again, be very mindful of the comments, right? Create, update, project task form starts here. And we're going to use the same one for update. We're just going to change it, obviously, to say update or to say add, whatever. But for now, I'm just going to do this here. I'm just going to just wrap this in parentheses, erase it, put it there. There you go. Just make a little room here for you guys. And then obviously we're going to do our mandatory refactoring of changing everything that says class to class name. Okay, perfect. All right, so now that we have this in place, the other thing that I want to do is, so that we don't have to put a whole lot of work into it, we might as well do the update right away. And all I'm going to do is literally copy and paste this in the same directory and just rename it update project task, because we're going to need a form, and they're very similar, right? They're going to be very similar to the point that this is just a hint, to the point that you can literally use the same form for both and just have a lot of logic in it depending on the use case. But I don't want to do that. Right? I don't want to do that because this is all not intended to be like a super in-depth walkthrough. This is just like a quick walkthrough, and all we need to do here is that now that we did that, then all I'm going to do is rename this class to update project task. Okay, and we're going to leave this one alone for a few videos. We're going to come back to it later on. Okay, cool. So we have our update project task and we have our add project task. Now we want to see this. Right? So we want to navigate to it. Of course we do. So for this, what we need to do is start implementing our routing functionality. And we're going to use the React Router DOM package for this. All right? So for this, I'm just going to close out of all of this because we don't need any of this right now. And I'm going to go to app.js. In app.js, I am going to perform the following imports. I'm going to import, and you're going to use the structuring here. Remember, you need to know some ES6 for this, so you should know what the structuring is. If you don't know what it is, don't worry about it. It's not a sin. All I'm saying is like just go read on it, all right? But again, you should know ES6 if you're here. Browser router. And let me just bring it up so that I can talk a little bit about what this is from React Router DOM. Which we already brought in as a dependency when we brought all of our dependencies when we were setting up the project. All right, now we're gonna bring in browser router, and again, this is gonna allow us to set paths, and it's gonna allow us to set paths that are gonna bring up a specific component. That's how, and if you remember from the demo, that's how I was able to click create a project and then go to the form, then go back to project board and go back to project board. These are some of the things that React Router DOM enables for us, right? So in this video, we're going to use as router and as route. Why? Because for this to work, first we need to wrap the entire application with the router. Okay, that way all the components, that way this is going to be, let's say, enabled for all of the components, right? And then we're going to use route to set exact paths to our components. And I'll show you I'm going to show you right now what this is going to look like. Right here, we're gonna open a tag here and we're gonna call it router, which is exactly what we are importing right here. All right, and then what we're gonna do is just wrap the entire app. Again, here's return, here's router, and he's wrapping the entire app.js. Right? Nothing too complicated about this. Right? Cool. So now that we have that in place, then the next thing that we want to do is create actually exact paths for our components. Now the navbar, we want to see the navbar at all times. If you don't set a route for a component, that component is gonna come up always, no exceptions. Like, it doesn't matter what is it you're doing, the component will keep coming out. And actually, I'm gonna show you what I mean. So right now, what we want to see is we want to see our add project task. We want to see the form. We want to be able to navigate to that form. But there's no way, even though we created the component, there's no way for us to navigate to it right now, right? So that's the first thing that we're gonna want to do, right? Because there's actually absolutely no routes taking us to that component. Even if I come here and say add project task, nothing's taking us to it, right? All right. So with that in place, the way to do this is the following. We're gonna use route, obviously, because router is what's going to wrap our app, and route are, again, it's going to be the specific routes that we're going to set up. And then I'm just going to say exact, not export, sorry guys, exact path, and then equals, and then I'm just going to create the path that I want to use to go to load the form, and it's going to be add project task. Okay, and then the next very important piece of this is to bring up the component. What component do we want to render when we go to that route? And you guessed it, it's going to be the add project task. All right, that's the component that we want to bring. And my auto import did not work, and I want to see why. I think I have an idea why it didn't work. Let me see. Add project task. Actually really interesting, because it's usually good with that. There it is, add project task. And when I click here, remember, if you guys are not using extensions that will do this for you, then you need to make sure that you do this, that you type this here. All right, so now every time I do add project task, is going to bring up my form, but it's also going to do something that's going to look really bad, and it is the following. If I do project task now, a second, did I save this? No, I did not. Give me a moment here. Okay, perfect. So if I'm here, if I go to add project task, I should see my form, but I also see the board, and this is bad. Like, this looks bad to me. I don't know about you, but this looks bad to me. I don't like it. All right, I don't like it. So what I want to do is I want to have a separate view for my form. All right, so the way to do this is to also create a route for project board. So basically, we're gonna get rid of this, and what I'm gonna do is, again, actually, why don't I just copy and paste this and just put it here, and it's gonna be, you know, the main route, and then I'm just gonna bring the project board, which I already imported, which is right over here. And now with this in place, if I go back to the main app, you can see here that I have the project board. And now if I go to add project task, then it takes us to the form. See, and this looks way better. All right, and of course we have to set up the routing so it goes back and forth, right? And that's fine, but at least now we know what we're using the routing for. Now, a very important piece of information that I do want to give you is that whenever you load a component with React Router DOM, it always passes 3 props to it. Okay, and I'm gonna show you right now, because this is gonna be important. If you guys go to my full stack course, you guys are gonna need to know this. First off, and I really do not recall if I told you about this, guys, or not. But remember, you need not remember, because I really don't remember if I talked about this. It's been a few days since I've recorded anything. You need to use Chrome for this. I'm using Chrome here, and you need to have 2 extensions installed. Okay, you need to have the Redux DevTools and the React DevTools. Okay, so basically, if I go to Google and I say Google Chrome extensions, and sorry if I left this out, I apologize. I really have no recollection right now if I talked about this or not. But if I didn't, then here it is. You need to search for React DevTools, Developer Tools. And as you can see, this one added. I already have it, obviously. And all I need you guys to do is to obviously install it. And the same with Redux. Redux Developer DevTools, I think it is. And same thing, Redux DevTools. I need you guys to have that installed. We're gonna need it later on in the course, especially when we do Redux development. Oh, guys, believe me, you're gonna need this. So good thing that I cut myself. If I hadn't mentioned this before, a good thing that I'm mentioning this again. If I did again, then whatever. All right. So now that we have this, we're gonna go to our React Dev tool here. I'm just see if I can minimize this. Yes. So the React Dev tool pretty much allows you to explore everything that's rendered at a given time. Everything that's rendered by React. Remember, React will do a lot of things that will ultimately, let's say, compile things to run on the browser, right? But with this dev tool, you can see the components and you can see their props. And this is going to be very important moving forward. If I go to Act Project Task, right? If I explore this, you see that browser router through router, it's what's say through this route is how we get this component rendered. And every time you render anything through route, through React Router DOM, it passes to this component 3 props, which is history, location, and match. Now we're gonna be using history here because we do wanna say when we add this, right? When we add one successfully, we want to go back to the project board and actually display. So we're gonna use out of that those props, we are going to use history, right? Location, right here. You can see the path names here, and then match gives you some other useful information. And for instance, if you're working with parameters, which in the main course we are going to use parameters heavily, then you're gonna need this one as well. So again, 3 main props that React Router DOM always passes on to the components that get rendered through that package. Okay, so I hope that that's super clear. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to be able to navigate to the form from here. How are we going to do that? Well, for this, we need to go back to the project board. Just close out of this here for now. And I'm just going to go back to my project board, and I'm going to import something else from React Router DOM, which is called link. Import, again, the structuring link from React Router DOM. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is that we are going to get rid of this A tag here, and we're going to use link, and then we're going to say to, and then we're going to use that path that we just created on app.js, add project task. And again, just so you guys know that I'm not making this up, I'm just literally just copy and paste it here. And then we need to remember also to clean up this A tag here. Perfect. So what this is going to do, since link is also from React Router DOM, is saying when this button gets clicked, then just send people to the form. And if you remember, that wasn't working before. So now with that in place, we should be able to click here and we should be able to see our form. Now, back to the board, same thing. We're gonna wanna go to our add project task and literally do the same thing. Now, I'm going to leave that as a challenge for you. If you guys wanna stop the video and do it, it's actually super easy. So here, back to the project board, you can actually still use the A tags if you want, right? It's gonna work. See, can't believe that I closed the browser. Sorry, guys. But basically now I can go here and then go back to the main project board. And then again, you can also use link to, which you obviously have to import so that it works. If not, the app's gonna break. Okay, and this is basically this right here, that refactor there. It's literally going to do exactly the same thing. Takes you here and then takes you back. All right, and this is looking good so far. All right, guys, so I think that we are moving at a good pace. I'm gonna stop this video here because I do need to grab my charger, and then in the next one we're gonna continue on working on perhaps creating more components. All right, thank you very much.